Welcome back to Guru Beauty. I am Jodie and I have an enormous makeup collection. I get asked all the time for an update of my makeup collection and I would love to do that for you, but first I need to put away all of my makeup. My collection's gotten way out of hand and it is well overdue for a cleanup. So I saw Tati from Glamour Life Guru do a makeup graveyard series. I thought that was a fantastic idea just to go through products that I do own and what I think of them. I'll swatch them for you. I'll share with you whether I like them, whether I'll get rid of them. I will hope to also do, with appropriate products, do a bit of a blog sale, and I'll figure that all out once I'm through with my makeup graveyard series. There will be quite a lot of products though that I will be looking at getting rid of and also selling, so stay tuned for that. But if you want to see what I think of my current collection of makeup and what I'll keep and what I'll get rid of, keep on watching. Today we are looking at my highlight powder collection. Of course there are liquid and cream highlights, and today we are just looking at the powder variety of highlights that I have in my collection. I will go through, swatch some of these for you and discuss what I plan on keeping and what I will get rid of. First up, starting at the front, we have the Hourglass Ambient lighting palette. This is not a simple highlight palette for me. I had to choose which drawer to put it in, but I'll typically use the dim light in this palette as a face setting powder or a finishing powder, and then I'll use this one in the middle. This is the incandescent light as more of a highlighter, and then when I don't really want much of a contour, I just want to bronze and warm up with a smoothing type finishing powder, I'll use this shade here. I will be keeping this one from Hourglass. Similarly, I also have an Hourglass Ambient lighting powder in Diffused light. That one is quite light with more of a sort of whitish yellowish sheen. I'll be keeping that one. And then also the Hourglass Ambient lighting powder in Luminous light. That's a little bit pinker than the Diffused. I will be keeping all of those. They are relatively new additions to my collection and I'm definitely not ready to throw any of those away. This one is the Diorskin Nude Tan Transat edition of gold shimmer powder. This is sort of that nautical ropey nude gold toned highlight. You know what, I won't be keeping this one. I will actually be getting rid of that one. This is a Charlotte Tilbury Bar of Gold highlight. I think this one was a limited edition highlight as well. Also gold tone, just like the Dior. This is a little bit whiter in shade than the Dior, if you can see that there, the Charlotte Tilbury. I will be keeping this one. I think Charlotte Tilbury has much more to come, and I'll keep that one as a reference. Don't expect all of these reasons to make sense, what I'm keeping and what I'm not. It's just a gut feel really, what I want to keep using and what it's time to say goodbye to with these drawers filling up. Next up we have the Diorskin Shimmer Powder in Amber Diamond. This is a real cult product as far as highlighters go. When you blend all of these shades, it's like an apricot-y, pinky type glow, if you can make that out. I will be keeping that one in my collection for future reference. Next up I have one from Physicians Formula. I really like Physicians Formula for their face products in particular, their powders, their highlights, their bronzers. They do those very well. This is their powder palette Mineral Glow Pearls in Translucent Pearl. You can see it's sort of embossed into a shape of pearls, multiple colors, but then when blended together you've got a more of a white type highlight, I guess you would say. It's time to say goodbye to that. I don't use that very often. Now I have some from Hard Candy. Hard Candy makes some of these blush crush baked blushes which have been very popular in previous years. This one is in the shade Pin Up. I've had this one for a few years. It's a deeper, rosier type highlight. It's quite a lovely shade actually. I may keep that, I may not. I'm going to put that in the maybe pile. I actually have another one here of Pin Up, the very same shade, so I will put that in the get rid of pile and possibly keep the other Pin Up, not sure. Some more from Physicians Formula. I think they don't make these shimmer strips anymore, but I really like these. These are the custom bronzer, blush and eyeshadow shimmer strips. This is Vegas strip slash light bronzer. It feels very much like a cream as you pop it on, and I really quite like that one. I'm not sure if I'll keep it though because it's discontinued. I'm gonna put that next to the Pin Up and I'll make up my mind about those products. I have another Physicians Formula shimmer strips, this time in the shade Waikiki Strip, and Waikiki Strip just has maybe a little bit less of the gold and a little bit more of the bronzy type pinky type shade. It is just a deeper, bronzier type product. I'm not going to keep that. I do have plenty of bronzers that have a bit of shimmer to it that are already in my bronzer drawer. I'll include a link to that bronzer makeup graveyard video that I've already made. I will be getting rid of the Waikiki strip from Physicians Formula. I have one more lot of shimmer strips from Physicians Formula. This is the Riviera strip. This is the most used one out of the 3 that I have. This one is just a little bit more sort of champagne-y coloured, I would say. We've got one that's quite sort of orangey blushy, one that's a little bit more of a rosy champagne-y, and this is just more of a neutral beigey type highlight if it's coming out on camera. I will keep this shimmer strip, and I'm going to make up my mind I'm going to get rid of the other shimmer strips and just keep the Riviera strip because that's my favourite of the lot. Moving on now, I have quite the range of MAC highlighter powders. I will start with this one. This was released, I think, last year in a limited edition collection. And Rio, you can see in the pan, it looks like a lovely blend of tan and pink shades. Just a beautiful, shimmery, lovely pinky shade. This really is much more of a blush than a highlight, so I think I'm going to move this to a shimmery blush drawer. This is a mineralized skin finish that keeps on popping up in various collections. This is called Perfect Topping, a beautiful marbled finish of white, peach, bronzy and lavender type shades. As you see it being swatched on, it's less shimmery than other mineralized skin finishes. This is a really pretty, very fine type shimmer, not very pink, not very brown. I'll definitely keep Perfect Topping. That is a really nice one. Next one is a mineralized skin finish in Semi Precious Pearl. This was part of a limited edition collection from either last year or the year before. Really nice, unique, pretty design there. I think I will keep that. It's just got a little bit of a sparkle to it. You could almost pass that as a blush as well. I will keep that one. Next mineralized skin finish is Whisper of Guilt. I went to quite extreme lengths to get a hold of Whisper of Guilt. I could not find it, and then I stumbled across a MAC store when holidaying in the United States, and they happened to have one and actually just pulled it out of a drawer when I was shopping and said, are you interested in looking at this highlighter? Very, very pretty sort of gold toned highlight. I'll definitely be keeping that one. A few more mineralized skin finishes. This is by Candlelight. By Candlelight looks very kind of peachy pinky with a bit of gold. It's just a little bit pinker than the others. It's not a really nice, pretty, ethereal type pink is how I describe these type pinks. I will keep that one. I think that would be really pretty over a pink blush. But again, it's so hard to define. Is this really a highlight or is it more of a blush? It's a very pretty shade. It almost belongs in my blush drawer. Next, I have a MAC Beauty Powder in Too Chic. I think the beauty powders are kind of like a different finishing powder. Too Chic, when swatched, you can see it has a lightening effect on the skin, so quite brightening. I think that this is very nice because it's not too shimmery, but it's going to do that job of highlighting with the lighter shade and bringing forward those high points on your face without adding too much shimmer. For that reason, I will keep it. I have 2 more mineralized skin finishes. This one is Lightscapade. I think this has been added to the permanent collection. Very similar to the Too Chic. It's going to lighten and brighten the face where you apply it without adding too much shimmer. And you know what? I'm going to keep Lightscapade, I think, and I will actually let go of the beauty powder in Too Chic because they are very similar. This is a holy grail highlighter for me, as well as many others. This is the Soft and Gentle. This is part of their permanent collection. Soft and Gentle is a very vibrant, shimmery highlight. It really sets your face aglow when you use it, and it's very, very pretty. Very sort of neutral. It's not too pink or yellow. I think it suits many skin tones, and it's just a lovely, lovely shimmer. I'll definitely be keeping Soft and Gentle. Moving on now, I have a Beauty Beats Shimmer Powder from Essence. I think my friend Tam gave me this one. This has the word swag embossed into it. This is another one of those that's not overly shimmery, but it's quite light in color, so it's going to lighten up those high points on your face. I will keep that. I think it is quite a nice powder. It blends out to something quite fine looking. It's not too chunky or glittery, so I will keep that one. Thank you very much, Tam, for that. I really appreciate you sharing that one with me. And then I also have a very affordable highlight from e.l.f. They call this one Gotta Glow, and typically this is one that I have recommended as a bit of a dupe for the NARS Albatross. It's a very gold toned highlight. You can see it does certainly lighten the skin. In terms of resources for the library, I think I will keep the e.l.f. Gotta Glow. Next up, a cult highlight product. This is the NARS Albatross. A little bit more pigmentation to it, very gold toned, a beautiful highlight. It's definitely going to add a glow. I'm definitely keeping NARS Albatross. Next up I have, an oldie but a goodie. This is discontinued. Revlon Color Stay was making a mineral finishing powder. At the time they made, I think, 3 different shades. This is the one in Brighton, and I really thought this was a fantastic dupe at the time for M.A.C mineralized skin finishes. You can see that Brighton is primarily a bunch of pinks and whites marbleized in the pan. Very pretty to look at. It's a more of a pink toned highlight. Revlon doesn't make these anymore, so it's not important enough to keep as a reference, and there's no point talking to you guys about it really, so I will be getting rid of that one. But gosh, Revlon had some really lovely products there with those marbleized Color Stay mineral finishing powders. I really liked all 3 shades from them. Next up I have something from Napoleon. This is his Blush Patrol, and this is one of those products like the mineralized skin finishes that could either be a blush or a highlight depending on the individual product that you get. The one that I got was very, very much a highlighty product. I was really wanting something a little bit more blushy, and I remember being quite disappointed when I got it. It is a mauvey toned sort of highlight, but I think I was just hoping for something deeper. When I'd swatched it in store before, it looked like something deeper, and I won't be keeping this one. I just don't really reach for it at all. Next up, something from Inglot, very similar looking to the Physicians Formula Shimmer Strips. This is their A.M.C multicolor system highlighting powder in 84. I think they have a few different shades to choose from. This has a blend of sort of yellows, a rosy mauvey shade, gold, and champagne-y type shades. I really haven't worn this one very much. I feel like it's kind of lacking. If you are looking for a highlight powder, I'll just swatch it there. You really don't get much from this when using a brush on the face, so I won't be keeping that one. Another holy grail for me as far as highlighters go, this is from the Balm Mary Luminizer. The Mary Luminizer from the Balm is an ultra shimmery, very effective highlighter. If you are not specifically after a subtle highlight, if you really want your highlight to do the job of making you look glowy and shimmery, I think you will love the Mary Luminizer. Among my favorite highlighters, I definitely will be keeping Mary Luminizer. Next up, another favorite highlighter powder of mine. This one has hit almost cult status. This is from Becca, and this is their Shimmering Skin Perfector in Opal. Just like the Balm's Mary Luminizer, this is one that you really just cannot miss. When you apply this to your face, you can be assured you are going to be getting a very effective shimmery product that's going to give you a lot of glow. This one has a little bit more of sort of a bronzy glow to it, champagne-y glow. I adore this shade. I adore the product. It's glorious. You hardly need any at all to get a lovely effect. Thoroughly recommend it, and will definitely be keeping it. Next up, something from Elizabeth Arden. I think they released a few different shades of this product last year or the year before. This is their Pure Finish highlighter, and this is in the shade Rose Illumination. This is a sort of rose gold highlighter. It is definitely a rose gold type shimmery product. Very pretty, but I hardly reach for it, and this is one that I probably will be getting rid of. I'll put this in the get rid of pile, but a very pretty highlight for those of you who are interested. I will be doing a blog sale later on in the year once I've finished my makeup graveyard. Next up, something from Sports Girl. I don't know if they make this anymore. I think probably they don't. Stored in a big box with a pull-out drawer containing a little brush. This highlighter is called Glow and Behold. It's an illuminating bronzer, and I thought this was just really cute packaging. Quite a sort of pinky bronze product. It's actually really a nice highlighter. I won't be keeping it, however. Yes, you can have too many highlighters, and I certainly do. It's time to say goodbye. This is a relatively new one. This is from Laura Mercier. This is part of their Matte Radiance Baked Powders in the shade Highlight 01. This is a really lovely highlight. Not too shimmery, but it's just going to lighten those areas of your face that you choose to put it on. I really think that's a very pretty product, and will definitely be keeping that. I really recommend that you check out the Matte Radiance Baked Powders from Laura Mercier. They are a beautiful range of powders, very kind of smoothing. and very flattering. Another favorite highlighter product of mine, I've had this for years, and this one I have used to film a how to fix your broken powdered makeup products. I'll include a link to that video down below. This one is from Lorac, and this really is famous for smashing up. I think it's a very delicate powder that needs to be treated with care. Most people's Lorac Spotlight powders come with cracks all through it. This is officially called the Perfectly Lit Spotlight highlighter, and you can see it just looks like a sort of bronzy champagne-y highlight in the pan. It did mend quite well using the method with alcohol, and I will be keeping that. But you can see it's just a lovely sort of beigey highlight. This is one that adds more of a pearlescent glow rather than a sparky, chunky glitter type look. Next up, one from M.A.C, one more from M.A.C. This was a limited edition mineralized blush, and it's in the shade Rhapsody in 2. I think it, gosh, was probably going back about 4 years ago now, but it was my favorite for months at a time. Another one of those obvious highlight, you know, if you're really adding a shimmer to your face. A gorgeous pinky shade, and this just has a special place in my heart. I adore this highlight. I will be keeping it. I just can't bear to get rid of it. Next up, I have one from Sheer Cover. I bought this many years ago when Sheer Cover was relatively new. Gosh, I think this was before I even had babies. That's how old it is. But it is a loose powder, so shelf life is decent on these products. This is called the Lid to Lip highlighter from Sheer Cover. It's a gorgeous apricot-y type shaded product. The idea being you don't just put it on your face, you can put it on your lids or your lips or wherever you want that glow, and it's beautiful. I'm not going to keep it though. It's not one that I reach for very often. Next up, I have the e.l.f. Golden Bronzer. Much less of a bronzer, much more of a highlight. You can see it comes with 4 different tones in the actual palette. A very light champagne-y shade. This feels very creamy and buttery going on. I actually adore this shade, and I never reach for this product, but I will be keeping it, and I will try and remind myself that I absolutely need to use that product. Next up, something from NARS. This is a highlight duo called Hungry Heart. I think this is Albatross, just a goldy highlight shade, just like the single that I showed you. And then Hungry Heart has a little bit more of a pink tone to it and a bit more chunky glitter in it. Since I have the Albatross on its own, I will keep the single, but I will be getting rid of this duo here. I really don't reach for it much at all. Next up from Bobbi Brown, I have a Shimmer Brick Compact in Apricot. This was a very recent purchase, a very pretty range of exactly that, apricot-y shades. This is definitely apricot-y. It's almost more rose gold than the Elizabeth Arden rose gold highlighter. Very pretty. Not ready to give that one up yet, so I'll be keeping the Apricot Shimmer Brick from Bobbi Brown. Next up, a few products from Chanel. I have this one here called the Camellia de Plume, and I think I bought this one last year. This was, again, limited edition. They really always come out with gorgeous highlighter powders in their limited edition collections, and this is a really pretty one. I'll definitely be keeping this one for a little bit longer. Again, one of those that just has a lighter shade and a shimmer to it, so you're going to get quite an effect with this. Another one from Chanel limited edition. This is their Poudre Signé de Chanel, and it's an illuminating powder. This one has a little bit more pink to it. It's just a little bit less white, a little bit less shimmery than the last one, and very pretty. I'm not ready to say goodbye to that one yet either. This is Laura Mercier's Face Illuminator in the shade Spellbound. I think it's from the collection of the same name. Spellbound is pressed into the pan in a beautiful ripple pattern, very much like the Hourglass Modernist eyeshadow palettes right now, and you can see that it's more of a sort of beigey type highlight. Very pretty shade. I will keep that one. This one was a very popular limited edition release from Estee Lauder. This is the Modern Mercury Illuminating Powder Jelly in 01. The Modern Mercury, I think, is the shade name of the illuminating powder jelly. You can see it's got this rippled animal skin imprint on it, and they've released a few different shades of this in subsequent limited edition collections. This is kind of similar to Laura Mercier's Spellbound in that it's more of that sort of pinky, bronzy type highlight. A very pretty shade. I'm not ready to say goodbye to that one either, so I will be keeping that Modern Mercury from Estee Lauder. Some more products here towards the back of the drawer. I have a loose powder from Laura Mercier. This is her Mineral Illuminating Powder in the shade Candlelight. Quite a neutral toned loose powder. It's a pinky toned champagne-y type highlight, I guess you would describe it as. Very, very pretty. I don't have a whole lot of loose powder highlights. I will keep a hold of that one. This is relatively new. This was released, I think, around holiday 2014 time from Burberry in the limited edition gold packaging with the Burberry embossing on the packaging. This is the fragranced luminizing powder in #1 Gold Glow. I love Burberry blushes. I love Burberry face powders. This is a gorgeous one, fragranced like the My Burberry perfume, which was released around the same time as the powder, I think. A little bit more subtle, you can see, next to the Laura Mercier, and more subtle than a lot of my other highlighting products. Just a gorgeous, lovely sheen that's not going to be noticed for the product itself. It is just going to add the effect to your face without, you know, being too obvious. So I will be keeping that one. The scent is absolutely beautiful. I do love my Burberry products. Next up, I have something from Illuminators. This is a loose powder called a powdered metal, and it's in the shade Ether. This is probably the yellowest product that I have held up to the camera so far. Again, a loose powder, so I don't reach for it every day, but it swatches beautifully. Very, very fine, not quite as chunky or sparkly as other products, but just adds a lovely glowy effect and looks beautiful under lights as well. So I will be keeping that. I have one from Maybelline. This is a Mineral Power Illuminator in the shade Peach. Very similar subtle effect to the Illuminators that I just showed you, just with a slightly more peachy tone. I'm going to not keep that. Next up, I have a limited edition M.A.C Wonder Woman Pink Power Mineralized Skin Finish. Not in the typical mineralized skin finish packaging. I'm sure I had a hard time deciding if I was going to put it in the highlight, the blush, or the contour bronzer drawer. You can see that you've got all three options here in this palette, a sort of highlighty peachy shade when you blend them all together. I will keep that. This is from Victoria's Secret. This is their Brilliant Shimmer All Over Powder in the shade Star. No idea if they still make this or not. This is very glittery looking at it. Probably great for dress ups, I'm thinking, because it does have so much glitter. I'll often glitter up my girls for different dress ups if they're dressing up as a fairy or something or other, so I might keep that one for sort of more of the costumey glittering up bodies type thing. This one here is a Bourjois blush in the shade 35 Lune d'Or, and I think I would have moved this one from my blush drawer into my highlight drawer, thinking it's just not much for a blush. Very, very subtle effect. I'm going to get rid of that because I just lose my patience with that. It's really not pigmented enough to show up on me at all. Another shimmer brick from Bobbi Brown. I have a couple more in here. This is one in the shade Nude Glow. I think I bought this probably about a year ago. 4 different shades there, and I thought that it was really, really pretty and definitely recommended this at the time. Haven't used it in a while, but it's just that darker highlight shade, so would be beautiful if you wanted that sort of shimmery bronzy type look. I will keep that one. I have another shimmer brick here from Bobbi Brown. This one is in the shade 24 Carat Shimmer Brick. I think this is another limited edition. It is, yes, quite a sort of goldy, champagne-y looking highlight, and I will keep that as well. I also have a Kevin Aucoin. This is in the old packaging, but they still do make the candlelight highlighting powder. This is a beautiful shade. Many people rave about this highlighter. If I swatch it on my hand here, you can see it's not ultra shimmery or ultra glittery. It's just got a beautiful smooth finish to it that's going to lift those high points where you apply it and just look gorgeous. I can see why that's a favorite of many. I have not used that one enough. I will certainly be keeping Candlelight by Kevin Aucoin. I have a few more loose powders here, one from Inoxa, and this is many, many, many years old. This is probably one of the oldest makeup items I own. I think I remember using this before I even met my husband. Really enjoyed this for going out at night. I thought this was great for clubs and stuff. I would put it all over my décolletage and all over my shoulders. Looking at it now, it's more of a looser shimmer type powder compared with some of the other products that I have. I think it's time to say goodbye to that one. Gosh, it got a lot of love and you know, still plenty of product left. That's one thing you can say about the loose powders. It's called the Angel's Gold Dusting Powder, and I loved it. I would even put it on my lids, I would put it on my lips. I loved that product for many years. One from Bare Minerals. This is another loose powder. This is an all over face color in Flawless Radiance. This is what the all over face color in Flawless Radiance looks like. I will keep that. This is the Mineral Powder Illuminator in pink. I don't think I'll be keeping that one. I just don't think they make it anymore, and there's no point me holding on to that one. And this one is from Bare Minerals, also another all over face color, this time in the shade Clear Radiance. Clear Radiance has a pink tone to it. I think that it's quite flattering for those of you with cooler toned skin. I am probably not going to reach for this. I think that because I'm warm toned, I would suit more of the beigey, neutrally champagne-y or goldy type highlight shades, so I won't be keeping the Clear Radiance from Bare Minerals. A few more products here at the back of my drawer. What, 3 more to go? I have one from Corn Silk. Is that the brand? Yeah, Corn Silk. I would have bought this when I was living in America. This is their Skin Brightening Loose Powder in number 1, transparent, no color. A lovely product nonetheless. I think I will keep that. It just adds a really ethereal type glow without adding any color. Another M.A.C product. This is one that I have loved in the past and completely forgotten about. This is their iridescent powder. It's a loose powder in the shade Silver Dusk. I think I first started seeing this on Candy Johnson years ago. I think she named it as one of her Holy Grail highlighters or Holy Grail products from M.A.C. It's a gorgeous highlight shade. Another one that you really don't need to use much and you just get a lovely effect. It does look like it has a little bit more of a glitter effect to it than others, so maybe best for night or just, you know, where you really want to state a very strong highlight on your face. Love Silver Dusk. I'll definitely be keeping that. And then finally, I have a translucent finisher in this drawer from Revlon Photo Ready range, and I guess I've put it in my highlight drawer for a reason, even though I hardly ever reach for it. You saw it was at the back of my drawer. It's quite a light shade, and probably I would have thought, you know, this is one of those products that I could put down my nose, on my brow and along my jawline for highlight type areas without adding too much shimmer. I quite like the effect that it has on this swatch, so I will keep that one definitely. I am just going to clean up my drawer, put back the products that I'm keeping, and I will be right back to let you know what the count looks like for my powder highlights. I'm back with my drawer relatively organized. We had a total of 59 powder highlight products in this drawer at the start of the video. I have put 1 in a blush drawer, 1 in a powder drawer. I am saying goodbye to 19 powder highlight products from this drawer and keeping 38 powder highlight products. So out of 59, keeping 38, not bad for a clean out, whilst no human needs this amount of highlighting in their life. I make beauty videos. It certainly does make me happy. Certainly expect to see this drawer again in an upcoming makeup collection video. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a fantastic day, and don't forget, you are beautiful. But don't just worry about looking it, make sure you be it. We'll see you again really, really soon. Bye.